they can access any of those cameras, any of those mics at any time. I'll just cycle through like, oh, do I have a camera of who's talking there? Oh, good. Here's a close-up. Then I'll isolate that mic and I'll listen to like, oh, what are they saying? God, that's some amazing shade. That's going to be great for either this scene or some later scene or some later scene or some later scene.
She looks metallic. Metallic, metallic, metallic.
Though I can't quite recall overnight sensation.
Welcome to The Chop. This episode we have some hilarious fake drama, a panel of judges that's high as a kite, some more investigative work into Rosé and Denali's edit, and the cherry on top. One of our viewers found an interview to a very honest former editor from RuPaul's Drag Race, so you know it's going to be juicy, and of course the confessional chart and speculations. Very quickly before we begin, last episode we talked about the Trinity leaks, but recently Trinity denied ownership of that Reddit account, so please take everything that I said regarding the leaks as my personal opinion and not as a matter of fact. Now, what do we have this week? Oh, we have an interesting article coming from Beatrice from the Discord. Thank you so much for sharing this. You absolutely made my day. The author of this article is an absolute genius. He is shady as fuck, is taking a huge dump all over RuPaul, so you can guess. I was absolutely living for this. Let's go on with the episode, shall we? It was so much fun. It was actually how good TV is supposed to be made, with drama that doesn't necessarily involve people going at each other's throat. It was fun, it was stupid, it was inspiring, it was really great TV. In addition, we also got to realize that the top and bottom queens had to prepare one additional outfit for a runway that they would never participate in. These queens have basically gone through 2 episodes and they already had to prepare 6 outfits. 6! Isn't that amazing? I mean, who gives a shit? Let them buy whatever. So, we have this fantastic episode with the fake Kimora drama because, you know, RuPaul's Drag Race is all about busting stereotypes. And so we have this huge, over-the-top drama with Kimora not showing for the runway. I mean, that was good TV.
We need Kimora to the stage immediately, please, or we're gonna go without her.
And look around, all the other queens are poof, they have left for the main stage. Like, man, this is my second chance and I'm already screwing it up. It's sinking in. I blew it.
In this episode, we find out that everyone was basically high as fuck. We have Michelle, looking like she just popped an hemorrhoid. A fabulous RuPaul, looking constipated as ever. And Ross, who looks like he didn't get a taste of good dick in a very, very long time. So, this is our episode.
B-A-M-P! Found! Do you all feel a little dizzy? Utica? Well, her balls have finally dropped.
My cat will love this look.
My dog will love this look. I don't know what will come out of that slot. I was thinking dingleberry.
Smells like Earl. Earl Grey.
Earl Gay.
Rue, want to go to the after party with me?
The dominatrix sleeps tonight.
What did they do in this episode? They just sat there and looked beautiful, then went to the bathroom, thanked the nice lady on the other side of the hole, and then maybe popped a Xanax.
Do you all feel a little dizzy?
RuPaul, what was it? Vicodin? Percocet? Maybe a little bit of fentanyl? You know, just to get that little sensation of flying. Stay high as fuck, get in the coins, sitting there, be beautiful, and let everybody else being sodomized online, which is fabulous. Tell me if that's not the essence of drag. Then we have this dramatic scene during the choreo. I don't know if any of you noticed, but Joy is calling Utica Hermione. That's how she's calling her. She's like, Hermione, come here. I have to show you a tricky thing. And Utica is ready for bottoming already. It's like, oh yes, Joy. Show me the tricky thing. I'm ready. I mean, I don't blame her. But they cut this.
So then for mine, I want to try like a trick thingy. I'll take your hand.
They cut this out. You see it for like half a second. It was incredible because, you know, they had to create, the drama. You know, they tried their best. They had confessionals and so on. And everything was so badly clunched together. It was fun to watch. It was a train wreck. And then we have a RuPaul song, FeNO-Meh-nOn, which kind of rhymes with menopausal. It was such an awful song. Who wrote that song, RuPaul? Did you write it? While taking a dump? I hated this song. It was awful. I mean, Mama makes a ton of money from her activities outside of Drag Race and from Drag Race. Hire someone to write good music. It's not difficult. What's next? Tamisha. Oh, Tamisha, we love you so much. I knew nothing about you and I am completely sold. This queen is an absolute legend. I loved everything about it, but let's remember, it's World of Wonder. There must be a catch behind this. But at least she has this big episode to shine. Talk about her drag family, talk about Tandy a little bit. Now, during the live stream, I was under the impression that RuPaul was being disrespectful to Tamisha. But upon rewatching the episode again, I realized that if anything, Ru was just taking words out of her mouth, which is slightly rude, but not necessarily disrespectful.
You have a very legendary drag daughter.
My baby girl, Tandy Mon. If she was still alive, she would be one of your girls because she was a phenomenal entertainer. I don't know if you see the video.
Oh, no, we've all seen the video of her dropping from the ceiling. Yes.
Oh, yes.
She was a true entertainer.
For everyone who watched the stream, I'm sorry for the mistake. But you know, try to understand me. It's RuPaul. I would never dare assuming the best of her as much as I would never dare petting a shark during a feeding frenzy. Now moving on, let's talk about Rosé. This episode, for me, it's even more confirmation that the producer cast her to be a villain. She's well known, she's a high profile queen, and a guaranteed bump in views if she happened to look like a bitch on TV. So I think that they did their best to trigger her. Then proceeded to edit her as a villain, even though she gave them absolutely nothing to work with, only to have a sudden change of heart and desperately trying to patch things up. Let's go through the evidence.
The 3 New York girls in that group.
3?
Yeah. Candy, Olivia, and Tina.
I forgot about Olivia.
I don't think anybody has ever seen them in the same room at the same time before. So I guess I'm like the connecting factor between the New York girls because I have a relationship with each of them individually.
But I thought that she already connected the dots on episode 1. She might not look gorgeous in the face, but she is smart as fuck. Who are these queens? Well, one is Candy, who comes from a family known on the internet for causing constant drama that goes nowhere and it's always there. Then we have a younger one, Olivia, who she judged during a competition. And then we have Tina, someone she has beef with. Then we have episode 1, she happens to lip sync against Olivia and loses. And then we have episode 3, where she was arguably put in the top, despite so many other contestants were clearly better overall. And of course, she loses again. I'm not here to argue about the lip sync, because you know what I think about them. These probably last 3 minutes, they can show us whatever they want. We have cutaways with the judges, we basically see 40 seconds of every lip sync. So I'm not here to say, oh, this was better, oh, that was not better. I'm just stating that if you consider all of the evidence, it starts to sound a little bit suspicious. I really have the uttermost respect for Rosé. She did something that I can only dream of. She royally sodomized World of Wonder. But this outfit kind of looks like shit. I'm not taking this on her because they have to prepare like 30 outfits for the show. This is the most expensive reality TV show for a competitor. You have to do what you have to do to prepare as best as you can. But we are still in the fantasy that it's a competition. So when they said, oh, Rosé, you are the winner, I thought, okay, this is it. She's going to lose the lip sync. They're going to try to trigger her even more. And then in episode 4, ooh, everybody will meet everybody. Now you cannot come to me and tell me that this all happened by chance. When you're editing for reality TV, you have priorities, and your first priority is the confessionals, the moment in which the audience feels the intimate connection with the contestants. Those are paramount. Everything about them is paramount. What they say, in which context they say it, which kind of music, which kind of mood is set in the background of the confessional. Remember what happened in All Stars with Ongina and Miss Cracker, where Miss Cracker basically showed Ongina the middle finger and then she went crying in the confessional. Oh my God, if somebody taught me that other people have feelings and they can act based on that feelings, maybe I would not have done it. I mean, what the fuck? And people bought it. People bought it. So confessionals are paramount. What is your second priority? What you show in the episode. Which kind of interactions you show, which kind of reaction shots you put in there. You know, I use the term bitch facing all of the time, yes, because those are the most obvious one. That is your second priority. Of course, you also have the background music, the shady noises, and so on, but these are only your third priorities. They help because they set the mood, especially the shady noises, but if you listen to the show, sometimes you can hear an happy music playing in the background, a dramatic score when something important is happening that you should connect emotionally to it. That's really important as well. It all forms a cohesive portrayal of whatever the editors and the producers want to transmit to you. All of this works together in a list of priorities. So you have to understand, if you're faced with a situation in which you have very little time to re-edit something and you have to go back and completely change the way someone was portrayed, then it means that you have to tamper with their confessionals to soften them up.
We're on a strict time limit. I mean, the bitch is stunning, but if she can't get ready in time, I don't know if she's gonna make it to the runway.
Stand by, 30 seconds to runway.
So it's time for the mini challenge, and it is a fashion show, and I am so fucking excited. The theme is Lady and the Vamp, so I hope we're all ready for this.
Category is...
But I did not come here to make friends. I devoted the time on stage to the group, but now it's time to focus on me. I think there's gonna be a lot of that, cultivating a group sensation and then figuring out how to be the best one.
That means that you have to go through the reaction shots, and only last you go through the score. And if you really are in a hurry, chances are that you will leave a trail of breadcrumbs behind you, because you won't be able to fix absolutely everything.
Rosé?
They can't send us home.
They can kind of do whatever they want. Tina won against you beauties, that fucking bitch.
For taking like maybe
5 or 6 hours. So wound up by, I mean, we've talked like,
Honestly though, on that stage, so is 5.
So if there's one bad egg.
1, 2, 3. Your line now, and tighten it and come into.
Why?
Rita, she's hot.
Oh my God. Well.
What happened, World of Wonder? Did you try to put a villain edit on her? Did VH1 come to you and say, what the fuck is this shit? Do it again. This is not working. This is not what we paid for. I am living for all of this. She's my hero. She is my hero. And I know what you're thinking. Trust me, I know what you're thinking. What does he know? You know what? Don't take it from me. Take it from a former editor from RuPaul's Drag Race. And thank you so much, Derek L., for sending me this link with this interview. So a huge shout out for you. Great job. And of course, a link for the interview will be in the description.
If two queens are having a conversation I need to get a reaction shot of this person so it looks like they're listening. If I wanted to seem like they're being talked about behind their back, I'll look for a shot where they're not paying attention. If there's 10 queens in a room, there could be up to like 15 mics and 4 cameras. I can access any of those cameras, any of those mics at any time. I'll just cycle through like, oh, do I have a camera of who's talking there? Oh, good. Here's a close-up. Then I'll isolate that mic and I'll listen to like, oh, what are they saying? God, that's some amazing shade. That's going to be great for either this scene or some later scene or some later scene or some later scene. And then I'll just start kind of cutting and paring it down and cleaning it up and pulling out. And then you just slowly start kind of tightening it. I'll throw a track of music down, Does that evoke some kind of response in me? But if it didn't happen on camera, it didn't happen. The footage has been in the can forever. So you've got all that time to, oh, here are my story arcs. And oh, it's like a magic trick. Like you've got to, you can do anything you want. There's a million ways you can tell a story. And all of them are entertaining and right. But what's the one that's going to make air? Yeah, it's a constant balance. And sometimes, I'll get a network note that says, oh, I really want to see this person here. Okay.
Now, our dear Denali. The problem with Denali is that she's getting the villain treatment. On top of that, she got a ton of shady noises and fucked up reaction shots in episode 1. What really convinced me that at least they tried to pull a villain edit on her. She has a ton of shady noises in this episode as well. Now, as you know, shady noises are played everywhere. Everybody has one. That's not the point if you get one. The point is if you start to get half a dozen in crucial moments of the show, in dramatic moments of the show, then it means something. And please forgive me if I don't have a compilation of all of these noises playing under Denali, but this week I'm running on a really tight schedule and I didn't have time for that. But I promise you, it will come in the future. She has a confessional in which she calls Tamisha prehistoric.
I'm 49.
49. Wow. Oh, we got some prehistoric ladies up in here. Damn.
She is not joking. She doesn't add anything to that. She just called her prehistoric. And you have to understand one thing. Did you see how they portrayed Tamisha this episode? I cannot say for sure because I have no access to this footage, but let's be honest. Who would call her prehistoric and leave it at that? It was clearly a joke. It had to be a joke. If you look during the same time in the episode, you can hear in the background Rosé saying,
You might cut into it and find rings like a tree, but the outside is nice.
It's a joke. They are joking. Everything is going on normal. They are bonding. And you know what happens when people bond? Well, boundaries starts off kind of going down and people start joking with each other. That's part of the meaning of bonding. But in Untucked, that's where the magic really happens. Because you have this moment in which Tamisha is basically explaining, oh, well, they told me that I didn't shine so much, but it's because I held back a little bit, And you see this from Denali with a shady noise playing behind it.
Do you feel like you were holding back during the ensemble pieces?
Yes, because when it came to the performance, we were working so good as a team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to be a team player.
And that didn't happen by chance. Nothing happens by chance. And if that wasn't enough, then at some point, we have another joke from Denali. After Tamisha is talking, you can hear Denali saying, oh yes, you don't want to be that shady bitch who is trying to take the stage all for herself, And you hear absolute silence over that. But if you try to hear closer, you can hear voices coming in from Denali's microphone, from the environment. Her microphone, because everyone has a personal one, her microphone is picking up other queens speaking and probably even laughing. What do we get? Nothing, because we cannot hear what everybody else is saying from their microphone. It's been shut down.
That's such a motherly thing to do.
I know,
let the kids have their moment, and I'll have mine when it comes.
And that was it.
As I'm like, 100%, turn my back, look at me. Being a selfish bitch, being a selfish bitch, being a selfish bitch, being a selfish bitch.
And what happens after they show Denali doing this? Oh, we have Utica looking at Denali with a demeaning face, like saying, what the fuck are you doing? You are such a shitty person. You see, when I see things like this, to me, that's a little bit too much, because you are trying to poke a little pool of contestants because you need a villain, otherwise you cannot do a show. This is how they reason. This is how they reason. If we don't have a villain, we don't have a show. Of course, because if you had talent, you didn't need a villain to actually make a show, who has so much to offer on so many other levels. Instead, we are treated to this bullshit.
Can I get an amen up in here? Amen. All right, now let the music play.
She's wild like an animal, giving a shit about tomorrow is not practical. Before we move on to the speculations, I want to thank you for watching the show, and if you like it, please share it. YouTube is not really helping us, and we can only become successful by word of mouth. Remember, good things are best when shared. And if you want to help some more, we also have a Patreon. And with that said, let's move on to the confessional chart and the speculations. I have two charts for you today. One for episode 3 and one for episode 2 and 3. As you can see, immediately out of the bat, you see Kimora, Tamisha, Denali, and Rosé, who have the most confessionals of all of them. Joy and Utica are kind of left on the background. Look at the negative confessionals, because believe me, I watched it and rewatched it, and I told to myself, how can Tamisha have negative confessionals? I kept telling myself, you must be mistaken. And then I remembered, wait a moment, you cannot score these confessionals based on the way you feel for these queens. And Tamisha had negative confessionals. Tamisha. Then we have a little bit of shady confessionals from Denali. This is the prehistoric confessional that I told you about before. Let's go to the chart for episode 2 and 3. Right out of the bat. Negative confessionals. Tina, Candy, and Denali. They hold the record for the most negative confessionals of everyone else. Who doesn't have negative confessionals? Gottmik, Olivia, Utica, and Simone. Are we looking at our top 4 right now? Because this is the question that I asked myself. And I think, yes, it could be. I could see it. Now, let's talk about them one by one and try to exclude queens with storylines and see what we are left with. Let's start with Tamisha. Based on the fact of their age, based on the negative confessionals, based on the fact that this episode, it can either have done two things. Even completely open a storyline for herself, or already put it full circle and close her storyline immediately in this episode, like it happened with Kimora, and it happened with Gottmik last episode. It's the same exact thing. I'm going to exclude Tamisha, because she has perpetual immunity from nomination from us. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Moving on to Kimora, I don't think that she has a storyline. Mostly because if she's really that slow, and don't forget that this is a race, and if you're not punctual, you are dragging everyone behind. So based on that, and based on the fact that her storyline seemed to close already in this episode, I would consider her as a possible queen to go home next episode. Moving on to Denali. Denali, absolutely not. She's a possible villain. There is no way in hell that they are sending her home immediately, because when they were starting to film this, my opinion of course, she was in the pool of those queens who could be villain and bring drama to the show, and they want nothing better. For me, Denali is not in the nomination at all. The same exact thing is valid for Rosé. There is just too much going on. Rosé has like 755 storylines going all from and to her. So there is no way in hell she's going home next episode. Gottmik, she is the winner of season 13. She's a huge image lift from that whatever the fuckery was that it went on in season 12, and during the finale of season 12 with the huge fiasco that was Gigi Good on social media, which basically destroyed VH1's image, World of Wonders image, RuPaul's Drag Race image. It was awful. And most of all, in episode 2, she had confessionals pulled in from 300 different episodes. Moving on, Tina. Tina is our bigger villain. The only question is, will she get a season-long villain edit or just a partial villain edit like Brita had last year? That is a good question, but I wouldn't exclude the possibility that they would bring her all the way to the top only because they need a villain there. Let's keep that in mind and exclude her from elimination from next episode. Olivia, can you show me a little bit of personality? A little bit. This is not on Olivia, mind you. This is on the editors. Other than that, she won episode 2. I think she has very good chances of ending up in the top 4 as one of the typical black queens not portrayed as villains. She's definitely not going on. Of that we can be absolutely sure, like with Gottmik and Tina and Rosé. There is absolutely no chance in the world. Elliot is one that I think that could go home next episode, mostly because his storyline will be closing next episode with the whole I was eliminated but then I came back and joined the winners. So Elliot is the second queen that I would nominate to go home next episode. Candy, there is no chance in hell. Absolutely not. She is the backup villain for Rosé, so if Rosé is not a villain, then Candy has to be one. And her Confessionals tells a story that is very clear. There is no chance she's going home next episode. Maybe she will have a season-long villain, like it could happen with Tina, or maybe she will be just a partial villain, like what happened with Brita last year. We'll have to see about that. What is for sure is that she's not going home next episode. Lala, we don't get to see enough of Lala. You know, we just had one confessional when she said, well, I have to start bring out the big guns. I have to start competing if I want to shine in a way. She's basically portrayed in a positive way, but we don't get to know much about her. And this could actually be a good thing, because if her storyline hasn't opened up yet, then it might mean that she's not going home next episode, and I would exclude her from the possibility. Now we have Joy J. Now Joy I don't really get. She doesn't have a storyline, but she is basically always there. I think that there is a good chance that she could be the narrator for this season. Mostly because she talks, but she never says anything. She's just there, she's being funny, and she's telling us what's happening in the show. So I think there is a good chance that she could be a narrator. And most of all, we don't really have a story arc for Joy J. There was this thing with the wig. Will she get the milk treatment? The Max treatment, the please wear a wig, oh you're wearing a wig, you're beautiful, now lip sync for your life and go home. It could be. I mean, that's the gut feeling that I get from her. Will it happen next episode? Possibly. And there is still this whole thing of her calling Utica Hermione, which we were not shown that, you know, it felt like it kind of happened by chance. So there might be a kind of storyline there that we didn't see yet. And then we have Utica. There is no chance in hell Utica is going anywhere. She's here to stay. She gets a ton of praise, and most of all, she's a standout in the cast. And as you know, the name of the game is diversity. For me, she could very well be on the top 4. Because she brings something that nobody else is bringing. For my prediction, I would say absolutely not. She's not going anywhere. And then we have Simone. She won the lip sync in episode 1. She won it again in episode 2. RuPaul called her a star. She is the second queen that I personally believe could be brought to the top 4 to be a representative of the typical black queen not portrayed as a villain. There is no chance she's going home next episode. So we are left with Kimora, Elliot, Lala, and Joy. So it's going to be one of these 4. Let's keep an eye on these 4 queens, okay? And then based on what we see next episode, when we finally get to see all of them interact with each other, and mind you, it's not the fact that they interact, it's the fact that the editors show us a specific way in which they want us to see them interact. And that is what our attention will be focused on. And that was all for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and a very special thanks to our patrons. And I will see you on Sunday with the next live stream. Have a great week.